Hi and welcome to another narrative, presented by yours truly, Cryptids Roost. If you enjoy this and other stories, please be so kind as to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. This will help with the YouTube's algorithm and will promote the channel more. Now, even though I'm not yet monetized by YouTube, I am in the process of creating some awesome merch for you guys. So be sure to look out for the info cards promoting this in the upcoming videos. So grab your coffee, sit back and enjoy the show. I Hunt Monsters, both human and not human, Part 1. 12th 1st 2019. This series is written by Reddit user DreadAndDonuts. Hello, I hunt monsters, both human or not human. What does this mean? I hunt people affected by the strain, a disease that popped up in 1998. The past 20 years or so have been rough on humanity. The strain alters cells and brainwaves, creating monsters, or well, real monsters. Take dragons, for example. Threat? 8 out of 10. People with scales, basically, and no, they don't breathe fire, but they do gain a sexual, yes, sexual pleasure from burning things and people. Real fucking assholes. We only know of one that exists currently. They pop up on our radar from time to time, though it's always one at a time. My brother, Joseph, went after the dragon that's still at large. Notice I said still? That means two things. 1. He's still out there. And 2. Joe is dead. I watched them put him in the ground. He died because Dragon jumped him. Joe had bad info. You can see why it all snowballed from there. As for me, my name is Kyle James Bridgewell. I've put down and captured many people and monsters. Captured a chimera, killed a griffin, had sex with an alien. You know, I can't sleep knowing that I have a son with tentacles and shit somewhere out in the universe. Oh well. Point is, I've seen some shit. Well, not just me, of course. Me and my partner in crime, Donna Fairfield. I was against having her along for the ride at first. When you see someone like Donna so excited to slay monsters, you just want to shake your head and say, you poor child. I think getting her left ear bitten off showed her that this line of work is not for everyone. I remember sitting in my room reading an article about how the strain will save us all, or some shit. Listen, this strain stuff can be prevented if you take a vaccine for it. But if you inject it like a crackhead shoots up heroin, you will contract the strain. It's either painful or bloody. Bones crack and remold. Skin peels off, blood boils, brain shrinks and grows. Heart beats at the fucking speed of sound, or you just BOOM! I'm not joking. Fucking boom! Blood and guts everywhere. Enough about saying I've seen shit. Time to tell you all about the things I've seen in detail. Let's start with egg keepers. Insectoid bastards that plant eggs in your lungs and heart. Takes a week to hatch the eggs. Don't think I have to tell you why these eggs shouldn't hatch. The call came in when I was scrubbing the toilet. Damn thing was hard to clean. Riveting, I know. Donna poked her head into the bathroom door. Kyle, stop scrubbing shit. We got work. I looked at her. The thing's almost clean though. Donna sighed and pushed her long blonde hair behind her ears. I'll make some coffee while you're scrubbing that. Donna walked out and I had the coffee maker start. I'll spare most of the details about my cleaning. She made us coffee, I finished cleaning, we left. We met up in the mission room of sorts. We call it that. Our keeper, the one who handles medical info, jobs, that sort of thing, Delilah, gave us the file on the person. Caitlin read. Problem, egg keepers. She didn't think they were a problem. Typical. Someone who thinks, oh hey, these aren't bad, when in hindsight they only help you because you're the host of their eggs. Donna and I went down to the armoury. I picked out an M9 Beretta. Donna took her favourite, a Foxwood 9, a laser pistol. Yes, lasers. We took a change of ammo and went to the garage which was connected to the armoury. We grabbed our bike helmets and got on my bike. I'm not a motorcycle guy, but all I can say is it could seat 2 people. I started the bike and Donna held on to my shoulders. The door went up and we were off. I obeyed traffic laws, of course. We got to the house after a 45-minute drive. I kicked the kickstand down on the bike and walked up to the house. Donna looked around. "Do you smell that, Kay?" I did smell that. It smelled like rotting meat. "Donna, step back." Donna moved behind me. I kicked the door. Kicking down doors isn't as easy as you would think. I shot the locks before kicking again. No dice. I used all my weight against it. It budged. The smell got so much worse. Donna covered her nose. "Oh my God!" We found Caitlin. She was in the hallway looking at us. Let me rephrase that actually. Her head was looking at us. Her torso and an attached leg were on the ceiling, getting eaten by an egg keeper. Donna threw up on the floor. I almost lost it too. I pulled the gun from my holster as soon as I saw it, but Donna retching alerted it. It chittered and dropped the body. When the body hit the ground, thousands of small green egg keepers scurried out the door. I stomped on some of them. Donna wiped her mouth. "They killed and ate her?" I didn't know what to say. They have never done this before. They would just knock you out, plant the eggs, then bounce. This was new, and in this day and age, new is bad. I don't know what was wrong with me, but I just stood there staring with a blank face. Bang! The sound of Donna's gun snapped me back into reality. She shot it between the eyes. The other egg keeper was around the bend of the hallway. As soon as Donna fired, it snaked its head around the corner, saw us, then flew over to me. It landed on me with astounding speed. Oh yeah, something else about these fuckers. They've got acid in their mouths. It will only release the acid when it bites you, and it bit my elbow. And when I said acid, I mean movie acid, you know, the melt your goddamn face off acid. The feeling of having your skin melt off the bone, it's not painful. It's fucking searing agony. For those wondering, yes, my arm was melting. I'm ambidextrous, but considering the fucker ate my gun, I shouted at Donna while holding the head back as it tried to bite. Damn it, Donna, take the shot. Donna was just standing there shaking violently. Donna! Donna! I was failing to hold it. Donna was still shaking, but raising her gun, aimed, and then shot it. The bullet went through its head and into my shoulder. I pushed it off me. Funny thing about being shot, you don't feel it at certain times. Donna stepped over it. She held out her hand. I took it. I pinged for backup. But are you going to survive, Kyle? I nodded. That was a lie. I was trying to stand, but had my bad leg, so Donna helped me up. I looked at the carnage. The girl we came here to save. The egg keeper Donna had shot first, and the egg keeper that was getting up. What? Donna! The egg keeper! Donna spun to look at it, right as it threw a knife at Donna. It sunk into her shoulder. She screamed in pain and fired 3 quick shots into the fucking zombie bug. Thing had its head fucking explode. She did the same to the other egg keeper. I reached up to Donna. I was fading, and fast too. Donna crouched down beside me. I grabbed the knife, but didn't pull it out. Donna winced. Don't pull it out, I said, and passed out. Now obviously I'm alive, but not out of the woods. Getting a new body part sucks. Donna is still healing as of my typing this, but for now, I've got to focus on this, and hey, maybe Donna will type up the next entry. I hunt monsters, both human and not human, Part 2. Series written by Reddit user DreadAndDonuts. So sit back, grab your coffee and enjoy the show. February 25th, 2019. Hello. As Kyle said in the last post, I'm writing this entry. I'm super sorry about the timing. Dragon showed up on our radar. We couldn't go get him because him having the whole melted arm deal. Okay, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, I'm Donna Courtney Fairwood, his partner in crime. Or rather, the stopping of crime. We share the laptop, so we both know the password. Now, I'm not going to vomit exposition into your eye holes, because you know just about everything. As for our injuries, Kyle is currently getting his new arm fitted. And as for my stab wound, it's still sore, and Kyle grabbing the knife put his prints on it, alongside making a tad bit more damage than there would have been. But as for the prints, he didn't get charged or suspected because of my statement. Now, time for what you all came here for. This is all about how me and Kyle had an encounter with a real monster. Name: John Ladykiller Fortak. Age: 40. Gender: male. Reason for being a target: Fortak has a recorded 14 kills on various innocents, such as a mother of 3 kids. The kids were killed as well, and 10 of our guys. Carl views everyone at the facility as his family, since his own hates him. So this pissed him off. Carl said something like, "I'm gonna skin that asshole when I find him," when he took the job. He said it would be easy to get him. It seemed easy, as the guy was a very sloppy guy when it came to leaving behind no trace. We would find him easily, he said. Turns out he was attending a party according to our keeper. I think Carl said something about her last post. Delilah. She was able to get us passes into the party. Me and Carl had to pick out good, but not too flashy clothing. I mean, come on, it was a party. Carl just grabbed a tuxedo and red tie. I just grabbed a nice long blue dress. We had to fit in and be very careful, as he had killed 10 seekers. That's what we are called. Then we would have to tread lightly. Before I even knew it, the party was upon us. We got dressed, told Delilah, who said, "Have fun, you two." I chuckled nervously. I was worried about Kyle though. I was thinking about one of the things he had told me one night. "Why did you come out here?" I asked Kyle, lighting a cigarette. Kyle stared off into the starlit night sky. "I really didn't want to do much. Parents didn't want me. I was a failed abortion. They let me know every day. My parents still kept me alive, maybe due to me being some sort of sick game or challenge to them, to see how far they could push me. Well, that's fun." It was so out of the blue, I was stunned. Kyle was that guy who didn't open up much. "But why become a seeker?" I asked, taking a drag of my cigarette. "I want to do something for the world, even if it has been so cruel to me." Carl was that kind of guy, kept things to himself, so this whole dishing everything to me was odd, to say the least. He's also terrible with knowing the dates. Pretty sure he thought it was 12th of the 1st, last post. Anyway, if anyone hurts anyone here, I'll fucking kill 'em. You and everyone here, Donna, you guys are my family. I know you guys wouldn't do anything to hurt me, Carl stated. Do you love them? Your family, I mean. Kyle looked as if I had told him the stupidest thing to ever exist. He responded with a chuckle. "Those monsters can die for all I care." He jabbed me in the side with a bottle of root beer he had pulled out the cooler. "Now it's your turn. Come on, Donna. Dish." I talked about my family fairly often, but I don't think I ever told him. My parents weren't bad, but they weren't good. Dad had a drinking problem. Mom smoked in the house. Carl took a sip of his root beer. But you smoke. Wouldn't you not want to? I took out my cigarette and puffed out some smoke. Not exactly. Carl leaned back against the railing. Peer pressure. I scratched the place where my right ear was before I had it bitten off. Different story. Yes and no. And Carl gave me a dubious look. Yes and no. I made a gesture with one of my hands. Weren't we talking about my parents? I said, dodging the question. He knew why. He just didn't want to get into it right now. But anyway, to wrap this up, my parents divorced, but my dad tried to forcibly take me, so I stayed with my mom, who smoked twice as much, but kept me happy. Kyle stopped leaning against the railing. I'm sensing a but, Kyle said. I took a sharp inhale of the cold air. She currently has lung cancer. She doesn't have more than a month, the docs say, but I know they're lying. She loves my stories. She's always loved stories of despair, you know, where the hero has nothing but sticks and stones to fight with. I could feel the tears starting to well up. Kyle patted my shoulder. Easy there, Donna. You don't have to say any more. You finished the bottle. I'm beat though. It was a long day. Kyle laughed. You should go to bed too, Missy. I rubbed my eyes. He would turn into this different guy to make people happy. And damn, it worked. All right, Dad. Geez, you're going to nag me all the time. I'm not much older than you, Kyle. Kyle laughed. One seeker is good. He held out his fist. I bumped it with a two are better. A tap told me that we had arrived. I had fallen asleep. We're here. We turned the car off. We weren't armed, but as we learned, his bouncers were doing pat-downs. Our outfits had nowhere to store anything. We only had the best weapons anyway, our minds. We were in pretty fast. They shot us looks, but we were waved in. Carl leaned over. They likely know who we are, or at least, very least, are suspicious of us. As for the party, well, it was huge. There was food everywhere. Music was pumping, people were having dance-offs. Carl tapped me with his then existent right arm, or was it his left? Who the fuck cares? Point is, he handed me one of the earbuds he had brought. If I need you, I'll radio for you on this. He put his in and I did the same. I headed to the dance floor to make myself seem uber low profile. Now I'm one hell of a dancer, and I was the winner of many a battle. As I was looking for a bathroom, a static noise got my attention. Kyle? There was a cracked noise from the other end. Kyle! I'm fine, Donna, though I'm flattered you were worried. I'll cut to the chase. I've got Vortak. That was easy. But the thing is, Vortak isn't his actual name, Donna. I braced myself. What is it? His name is Bryce Fairwood. I was fucking fuming. That asshole had come back to hurt me yet again, hadn't he? My dad abused me, but had never said that to Carl. He didn't need to know. We'll speak of the fucking devil. I don't know how he found me, but that asshole is here. I'm not scared of him, but I might get into a fight with him. You know, maybe Donna sends her wishes. I hunt monsters, human or not. Part 3. Series written by Reddit user DreadAndDonuts. So sit back, grab your coffee and enjoy the show. 3rd of the 8th, 19. So it's been a bit. Donna, along with 17 seekers, were kidnapped. 3 were rescued. Donna was part of these. They all had glazed eyes, were unresponsive, and the higher-ups had assigned their partners to helping them come back to reality. This meant I was trying to get Donna back on her feet. But first, in order to understand why and who did this, we got to finish what Donna was cut off in the middle of. And I am aware I posted the wrong date last time I wrote. I will do the right one this time. I walked away from Donna as she moved over to the packed dance floor. I walked the halls for a while before running into a guy who looked like he'd tried to box with a dump truck. Lost? He chuckled. The guy sounded like a walking beard and looked like he didn't belong. His suit was stained with beer, smelt like piss, and looked not at all fancy. He was bald, too. I scanned him up and down. "I'm looking for a John Fortak. You know him?" I asked. The man tapped his cane on the floor. Yes, come." I followed. While walking, I noticed the small PS1 pocket shotgun. Now, when I was a kid, I was very good at stealing small items from people. My parents didn't give a shit, so I never stopped until I was around 18. In one quick motion, I swiped the gun from his back pocket. The dude was shifty, alright. Don't get mad at me. We need to pass through a special room to get to Mr. Fortak's room. I jumped when he spoke. I quickly slipped the gun into my sleeve. The safety was on, so don't worry, you guys. My arm wasn't due to get erased from existence just yet. Oh, by the way, I got my arm. It's pretty nice. It's been shot once, but hey, Kyle's still alive, huh? Anyway, I followed the man into the room he had spoke about. It was filled with various creatures in cages. Cannibals, rhinos, guzzlers, egg keepers, and a fucking juggernaut. Juggernauts run at the speed of goddamn light and can break necks just because, why not? They were immune to tranks, so how one was in here baffled me. The man jabbed a cane towards the juggernaut. It was staring at him. "You like this one?" I was staring at it. "No, I'm just confused." He didn't ask why. We walked to the end of the room. I looked at one of the egg keepers. It would be the asshat that took my arm in the future. I shivered. These things were gross. He knocked on the door. "Come in," a southern voice said. The door opened. A man sat there in a chair, petting a cat. Now it was a Bond-style scene. He was sitting there in his chair, petting a cat. I was getting a lot of "this dude is bad news" signs from my brain. He put the cat on his desk and pointed to the chairs. "Sit," he said. I sat. "Man, a few words, huh?" I asked. "I guess," he said. "Can I assume you are Mr. Fortak?" I was met with a nod. I saw the man had walked to his right. I stood up. The man slowly brought his hand to his back pocket. He hadn't noticed I took his gun yet, so I drew it. In one smooth motion, the gun slid from my sleeve into my hand and was pointed at John Fortak before he could do anything. "What?" I cut him off. "My name is Kyle Bridgewell, John Fortak. You are under arrest for homicide." He just shrugged. He turned back and picked up a picture. "If you're going to shoot me, then do it, kid. My last thought should be only of my daughter Donna. Or no, your thoughts will be of her. No?" My hand lowered slightly, but before he could shoot, I hit the floor. The gunshot hit the door and I bolted, but not before clicking the safety off and shooting the single-shot weapon straight at him. Let me just say, I hate buckshot. I was by the door, so the shot spread. It nicked his hand, killed his cat, and his butler, servant, friend. He was fine, but his hand flew to his cheek. Fortak fired again. It missed again. "Your daughter?" I asked. "Did I say that?" "Ah, shit," Fortak said. "Or rather, Bryce Fairfield," he told me. It didn't make me question the universe, but I was still intrigued. This is when Donna got the radio from me, telling her Fortak was her dad, blah blah blah. You know, you read it, I hope. She responded calmly. "It was a kill assignment, right?" I stuttered. Yeah? The click told me she turned the mic off. I ran back through that room with the monsters just as I heard a small whimper. It was a dog. Not like a monstrous dog, but just a beagle puppy. Now I fucking love dogs, so I took it. How you asked? Just picked up the cage and ran. The cage was about the size of a small trash can. I met with Donna shortly after. "Kyle, well, why the fuck is there a dog? Where's the bastard at?" Down the hall is a smashing could be heard. Donna, we need to leave. I grabbed her arm. Kyle, we have a job to do. The door to the lobby opened and a head rolled out. Donna, you got a gun? Donna looked at me, visibly ready to throw up. Is no the right answer? Donna pushed open the door. We found the body of the head. It had various keys on it. Donna grabbed a gun off the body to her right. I tried all the keys on the dog's cage. One worked. I tucked the dog under my arm and ran into the blood-covered lobby. The juggernaut was out, but how did it slip past us? Bryce was standing close with a tranq gun. He shot at me and Donna. He missed me, but hit Donna. Donna pulled a small dart out of her arm. She had about 10 seconds. She was already fading. I had to support her. I took the gun and noticed the blue canister on the gun. It was shaped like a revolver, a foxhound. I fired at the juggernaut. The big bastard wasn't even phased. It turned and raised its lumpy hand. It brought it down way too close for comfort. I grabbed Donna and made a dash for the door. That's when I noticed Bryce. He was poking the bodies. Nope, weak, you just let it kill you, he said as he poked the bodies with his shit-eating grin. I had a job and I was damn sure I was going to finish it. I took aim and... Kyle, stop, Donna said. Give it here. I handed it to Donna. She broke away from my arm and took aim. Blam! I was thrown to kiss the ground by the juggernaut. I spat some blood onto the floor. He knocked out some teeth too. Sound pulsed in and out, but came back after a while. Kyle, are you okay? She shouted at me. Shoot it, Donna! She looked at her dad, then at the juggernaut. She shot one shot directly at the juggernaut's eye. She's one hell of a shot. Oh, by the way, if juggernauts are shot in the eye, they will most likely die. The abomination went down like a ton of bricks. She went to fire a shot at her dad, but stopped. You kill me? He slowly walked over to me in my painful glory. He put a boot on my chest. He pointed a PS1 at my head. He does too, I coughed. How the fuck does that even work? He looked so proud. Donna promptly blew his head off. I got back to my feet. Thanks, Donna, I said. She threw the gun to the side. Can we go now? I think. She fell into my arms. The dog had scampered off when I got punched. It had a small limp. It limped over to me. I picked it up and draped it over my shoulder. Donna was draped over my other shoulder. I walked back to our car. I buckled Donna in the passenger seat. The dog got put on her lap and we started off for home. So that's what happened to John. No, Bryce Fairfield. Now for the in-between. Me and Donna were allowed by the higher-ups to keep the beagle pup. When I say allowed, it's because seekers like me live at this dormitory where the other seekers live. It keeps us within arm's reach. Safe, useful, practical. SUP is the short version. And yes, we know it spells sup. We named the dog Bucket, and he is very quiet. Now for the not so good news. My parents died. Murdered. Lots of those these days. I didn't care much. If that makes me an asshole, fine. But they were shitbags. But I will track their killer once Donna is back in action. Now for that story. This one is a little shorter. My arm was finished. My arm slips over my stub pretty snugly. The arm reads my brainwaves and is able to move through that. Yet it's some tacky 2099 voodoo shit, but it allows me to do my job. I had made my way back to our room and everything was torn up. Bucket was knocked out. I checked to see if he was breathing, and yes he was. After I made sure Bucket wasn't dead, I looked around. There were signs of a struggle, and our laptop was open with some drops of blood on the keys. Donna was in the middle of posting an entry when she was taken. I looked through the post before wanting to kill that bastard a second time. What I wanted to know was one thing she said. Speak of the devil, there he is. I remembered Donna smoking his ass. So how in the hell Did he take her? I called it in. When I called one of my buddies, Richie, up at the police branch, we had this conversation.
Hello?
Rich?
Carl, what do you need?
I've returned to my dorm to find some blood and signs of a struggle. There was a lull.
Donna?
Someone took her, Rich.
Damsel in distress, I see.
Not the fucking time, arsehole.
Not in the mood for jokes, I see. Well, you weren't the first to call.
Someone called in for Donna already?
Nope. Multiple people had their partner go missing. We've had 2 squads just vanish.
Fucking odd.
Odd isn't the word I'd use, but yeah, pretty damn odd. We'll find Kyle. You got it?
Click. I know if anyone could find her, Richie could, so I put my faith in him. About a week later, he and his team pegged Bryce's operation. The Seekers were being used as test subjects. Because they were exposed to the strain for long periods of time, Bryce was using the tolerance they have for testing. We have a tolerance for the strain due to us being in contact with it for long times. I wasn't part of the team to rescue them, neither was I part of the team to analyse the area they were kept in. We know Bryce was behind this shit show, but nobody saw him. I did start helping Donna yesterday, so instead of a transcript of helmet cams, it is my vain attempt to get my best friend back. She doesn't talk to anyone, the nurse told me. Yeah? Well, she'll talk to me, I said, a bit rudely. The nurse looked annoyed. Donna looked up at me with those grey, glazed eyes. Is that Kyle? Donna asked hoarsely. Donna smiled at me. It's gotta be, right? I told her it was. Thanks for saving us. I felt like an asshole suddenly. No, I didn't help Donna. I'm sorry, I said. She won't talk to me now. This has been on the longer side, but here's to me getting Donna to talk and walk again. Sorry for the short notice wrap up. Kyle. I Hunt Monsters, Human or Not, Part 4, the finale. Series written by Reddit user DreadAndDonuts. So grab your coffee, sit back and enjoy the show. Date? Fuck dates. Rich has his gun trained on my body. Kyle, don't make me do this, man. Donna's body lay behind me, a steady pool of blood under it. I had my gun trained on him too. You remember what you said to me, right? He said. I shot him. Blood spurted from his chest. Shit, he said, dropping his gun. His vest was covered in fake blood. They, of course, were made to do this. Environmental training. We were required to do it once a month. 2 to 8 people are put onto a course with varying environments, like fields, forests, etc. Donna sat up and rubbed the back of her head. God damn it! I've got this shit in my hair, and the floor is painful, and I'm gonna be pissed for an hour. Rich stared at Donna. You decided to act all dramatic about getting taken out, and then stayed laying on the floor for 15 minutes, he chuckled. We all went into the prep room and started to take off the blood vests, the vests that spurt fake blood when struck like things like BBs. He took the vest off in the prep room. That's 2 for you, he asked, cocking his head. Yep, 2 for me, 1 for Donna, and... Rich cut me off. Jack and shit. That's how many I've won. Donna walked over and punched him in the shoulder. You'll get one eventually, Donna said. Stains of fake blood still on her t-shirt. Rich tried to push it away with a, clean up your shirt. Donna responded by bear-hugging Rich and laughing wildly. I remember thinking that these are my favourite parts of life, but I was happy and safe. I wouldn't be on a train bound for a neighbouring city with Donna's head on my shoulder, with Donna herself asleep and my brain going into goddamn overdrive. Our dog Bucket is still alive and well, you guys. Hey guys, it's me, Kyle again, and I've had a shitty past couple of days. The main Seeker HQ is nuked. Well, not nuked, but kaboom nuked. But it was attacked. 50,000 people and captured strain monsters were killed. This includes people close to me and Donna. Rich is fine. He was in a tropical locale at the time. But a lot of my fellow Seekers, our keeper Delilah, Donna's mom, was killed. Donna was a wreck. Still is, to be honest. But I need to back up, huh? So we should start in the hospital. They had transferred Donna to a normal civilian hospital because of Bryce knowing the location of everything and everyone in the HQ. Also, yes, it is Bryce, I think. One of the coroners went to test the body for strain levels before cremating it, and it was gone. Just fucking poof, gone. I have no clue how it left, but my money's on the strain. I'm, rambling, sorry. Now, where was I? Donna was holding on to the rails, trying to walk on her own. She just couldn't feel her legs. The best way to repair them was to walk around. Donna let go of the rails. She took a total of 2 steps before stopping. "I've got you, Dee," I said, catching her. She made a thumbs up. I helped her walk, well, hop, over to her wheelchair. She pointed to the door. "Onward, Jeeves!" I rolled my eyes. Me and Donna could not go on any missions because of Donna's leg problems. Or rather, problems. I couldn't go because I was helping her with said problem. We had other Seekers running our missions for us. "You know what happened there?" I looked at her confused. "What happened where?" I asked her, wheeling her down the hall. "At the place he kept us. My dad." I sighed. "Oh, yeah, that." She opened her mouth to begin explaining what happened to her when my phone rang. "All Seeker personnel are needed. Class Alpha." Alpha? Alpha? Alpha is basically code fucking red. Means there was a major breach. Me and Donna got back to the main Seeker HQ and were met to the door by our commander. Yes, Donna came too. All Seekers means all Seekers. Now, contrary to what you've received on your phones, this is not a Class Alpha. Oh, neat. So I broke several speeding laws to get here. Cool. "We are calling this a Class Zeta," he said grimly. "What's a Class Zeta, Commander?" one of the many people gathered said. The commander sighed. "It's new classification. Zeta is above Alpha." Donut looked at me and mouthed, "What the fuck?" which was very appropriate. "The only creature deserving of this status is Bryce Fairfield," he said. How in the fuck? My vision blurred, which I chalked up to being a sort of, what's the word? Fuck it. I stumbled a bit. I felt a hand on my shoulder. "You good, dude?" Donna said. But she sounded distant, fading. Then some weird shit happened. "Kyle, do you know who you are?" I stumbled again, harder. Donna sounded panicked and muffled. "What kind of cryptic voodoo horror movie bullshit is that?" I said. I blacked out. Now, if you're expecting I woke up in a hospital, then you're completely right. But there was no one around my bed. I was in my clothes. I got up off the bed. The second my feet hit the clean tile floor, my hospital room became covered in blood. I quelled the urge to vomit, which wasn't there. What in the shit? I got up off the bed. A woman walked into my room. She was wearing a nurse's uniform and holding a clipboard. She had a fountain pen in her hair, holding her... What the hell colour was that? Oh, I'm going to roll with grey, for the reason of her hair was no colour that existed in the world. I was cut off. "Carl James Bridgewell?" I tensed up. "Yeah, who's asking?" I said, putting on my work voice. She giggled. "Oh, Kyle." She looked at me. I dropped to my knees, feeling the most intense pain ever. My body felt like it was going to rip like wet paper. And then I did. Put yourself together. I was alive? The fucking fuck? I figured out I could wiggle my body, or rather, halves of my body. I wiggled the halves of my body until the cut sides were facing each other. Then my body just zipped itself up. Rule 1. Don't try to act tough in front of me, the grey-haired woman said. This was very, very awkward. I get called to a meeting, and then I'm in... Wait, where am I? Hey, where am I? She took the pen out of her hair, and her hair bun held somehow. She wrote something on the clipboard. Your mind, Kyle. I sat back down on the bed. You might want to stay as calm as possible. I was freaking out a little. My mind? If I was a betting man, I would assume this is what my mind thought was normal. Why is this normal? Kyle, your line of work is what makes your mind think it's normal. Holy shit, she can read my mind! I responded to the best parts. Stop it! She laughed. Well, your seeker work isn't the only thing. I looked at her quizzically. What? She nodded. Kyle, who gave birth to you? I sighed. My parents. Who else? There was a tense silence. Their names? She readied her pen and clipboard. You're fucking joking. This whole mindscape bullshit was just... She pointed her pen at me. Say the names, asshat. Rude. You know, this might work on most people, but not old Kyle. Their names are... Come on, Kyle. Hey, not now. They... Wait, no. They... Shit. I was getting angry. Calm down, Kyle. The angrier you get, the worse it gets back in reality. I shot her a glare. What the fuck are you doing to me? I screamed. At this moment in time, you are thrashing about on your bed. The girl by your bedside has a nasty bruise now. Do you know how hard you hit, Kyle? I stopped screaming. What? I'm not doing anything, Kyle. Do you remember your brother? Stop. What did you get for your 7th birthday? Stop. What were the Seekers using the strain for? Stop. God damn it, just shut the fuck up. I don't remember anything about Joseph. I can't remember anything before I was 19. And what the fuck is that supposed to mean? She calmly wiped something off her cheek. Define that, please. The shit about the Seekers. My voice was worn out from yelling. Oh, I am very sorry, Kyle. My name is Dr. Gray. Dr. Gray? Whatever. Dr. Gray, what's wrong with me? I sunk to my knees. The thing about the Seekers is that, well, do you remember the egg keepers? The ones that came back to life? Well, the cleanup crew took them back and converted them to a base strain level. So they turned this version of the strain into a replicant of human DNA. But this isn't the first time. 19 years ago, the first one was created. It clicked. Wait, am I... She nodded. Yes, Kyle. You are made of the strain. She walked over and tapped her fingers on my forehead. But for now, there is a problem. When you go back, look to your left and tackle the gunman. If you don't, Donna will die. There was a flash of white, and then, where the hell is he keeping the fake DNA? Donna had one eye shut because of a cut in her forehead, and her wheelchair was on the ground. I leapt out of the bed, and I was on him before he could pull his gun. He grunted as I wailed blow after blow on him. I drew his gun and shot him in the neck. Kyle? Donna rasped. Yeah, it's me, Dee. Hey, are you okay? Donna's eyes welled up in tears. I was wearing a hospital gown. I dragged Donna over to the bed. Look the other way, okay? I'm going to take the dude's vest, helmet and clothes. Donna looked away, and I took the poor bastard's vest and clothes. He had a Beretta and a Remington 870. I took both.
Everybody's dead, Kyle. Delilah, the people nearby. I picked it up onto my back. Hold on, Dee, we're getting out of here. I took out 3 people along the way, running into bodies along the way. We got out and I saw the commander hiding under a desk. He aimed his pistol at me. Donna waved a hand. Stop! Stop! It's Kyle! I raised the face mask. Sir, what's going on? With me and you. It's Bryce. He found us. The seekers who came back were chipped. We never even checked. He pulled out his wallet and stretched out his hand. Take the money, get out, show the Seeker HQ out by, keeping it censored for reasons, and show that to the commander. Get a house, get something. I nodded. Thank you, sir. I crouched down so Donna could grab the wallet. I ran as fast as I could to our room. I grabbed my watch. Gotta stay sharp. Donna looked over at the huddled beagle puppy in the corner. Kyle, grab Bucket. I walked over and Bucket jumped into Donna's arms. Hold on, you two. I ran and ran and ran. I got into one of the cars. I picked up the wheelchair on the way. I sat Donna in the car and peeled out. There were some gunshots, but the windows aren't bulletproof for nothing. I shared the vest and guns along the way. I stopped in various towns, buying fresh clothes, food, you know. We got to the train station at some point. I paid for our tickets. I'm typing this in a notepad app. Bucket whimpered in the kettle beneath the seat. More of a metro than a train, I guess. Well, today was definitely eventful, huh? She fell into my shoulder, and that brings us to here, on a train bound for the Seeker HQ. Even if the world ends, even if nobody reads these, old Kyle will always be writing, although I think me and Dr. Gray aren't done speaking yet. Wow, that was an epic story. Now if you enjoyed listening to this narrative, be sure to pop over to the author's Reddit profile, DreadAndDonuts, and drop him a line, or even give him a glowing review. The link to their Reddit profile will be listed below in the description. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed my narration, then please feel free to like and share the video and leave a comment below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell and select all. That way you'll receive all notifications each time I upload a new video. Now even though I'm not yet monetized by YouTube, I am in the process of creating some awesome merch for you guys. So be sure to look out for the info cards promoting this in the upcoming videos. Have you had any cryptid sightings, paranormal or supernatural encounters, or even had a creepy or terrifying situation that you would like to share? Have you written a CreepyPasta story you would like me to narrate? You can submit all your stories to cryptidsroost@gmail.com. And if you wish to remain anonymous, that's fine with me. Now I've also created a Facebook group, Twitter, Reddit and Discord, although I don't yet have my own channel, but I am on there. Now if you'd like to support this channel, you can help make it grow. My PayPal is paypal.me/Cryptids Roost. Again, that'll be listed below. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is not.